Hello. I want to show you all something really quick. Say hi to Jerry. Jerry Garcia. The cat. All right. So, TM has a phone call with Brad Wishin, 423 Chase's ex-wife. Her name is Rachael. This was, I believe, recorded within, I think it was recorded in December of 2021. That was when the upload from When Doofs, from Web Doofs and Goofs that I listened to and pulled all of this from was uploaded December 15th of 2021. TM starts the call off saying hello to Rachael. Rachael says she is so glad Brad is being called out on all his bullshit. That he's been found out for what he is. So Rachael is Brad's ex-wife. She probably knows him very well, and a lot of people were probably skeptical of her, but I believe her. Why would she have any reason to lie on someone like that? She said she told TM in an email that she didn't want to get involved in this, which I can't blame her there, but she has a friend in the loop that has told her what's been going on. She says Brad has such a history of lies and deceit, and she says they were married, her and Brad, for 7 years. Bless her heart. And he just makes her sick. Every time she hears him on YouTube talking about having cancer and collecting money from sympathy, she says he is such a crook and a con artist. She says it amazes me people don't research people they give money to. You all should research who you give money to before you do. Sometimes people are very easy to convince, and they assume people are good and well-intentioned when they're ill-intentioned. Sometimes that's just how people are. She says she could write a book for all the times he has lied about having leukemia. What a terrible thing to lie about, you know? I would be afraid karma would get my ass on that one. During the course of our marriage, he lied to everybody, Rachael says. He even lied about his son having cancer to run from bill collectors. So he is willing to put cancer on his own son to dodge paying a bill. Another time I would be dead-ass terrified of karma. I won't swear on my child's life. I would certainly never put a deadly disease on them. Rachael goes on, he has killed his dad off 3 times. So not only himself does he give a deadly disease to, but his own son, and then he straight up puts death on his own father, not once, but 3 times. This man literally has no conscience. Then, get this, he lives with his dad right now, she says. His dad's house is supposedly hoarded up with junk. Well, if Brad can't hold a job, why doesn't he spend some time helping his father clean up his house, you know? He's such a con man, Rachael says. You cannot believe anything that he says. Anything. TM thanks Rachael for coming up and speaking. TM mentions this is a way of life for Chase. This is nothing new. This is something you would expect from him. I don't think the man has a conscience, says Rachael. It amazes me how someone can continually lie like he does. He stole stereos from Grindstaff. His parents paid that off so he wouldn't get in trouble. She names people that work for this business that he stole from and says you can ask them. So, theft is nothing new for Brad. This is something he's been doing for a long time. He is a practicing criminal. She says he's been in bankruptcy twice. Well, that doesn't surprise me because from everything I've heard so far, he doesn't seem like the type of person to plan ahead or prepare very well, and I could see him screwing screwing up a bank account very easily, considering he is so quick to want cash. He doesn't seem like the type to save. He probably relies on his parents when he needs anything. She says he has no money. He lives in his mommy's den. I thought she just said he lived with his dad, but maybe mom and dad are together, or maybe he was staying with his dad from living at his mom's. I don't know. Apparently, he threatened to sue TM. He still owes me money that I just let go, says Rachel. He cost me about 15 to 20,000. TM says that sounds about normal for someone like him. So he just drains people of their money for what? Drugs? Because if he's on opiates and benzos, he will need the money for that shit, or he will be sick if it's something he was doing every day. Then I need no further explanation. I can understand exactly where his money went if that's what it is. Rachel says she's a full-time hairdresser and she doesn't have time to keep up on everything on YouTube, but she has a friend that does and tells her everything, and that's why she decided to do this. She says she reached out to Brad's other ex-wife that came after her and said she wanted her to come out and speak too. So Brad's ex, Rachel, she went all out trying to call out Brad. So you know it was bad. She says she talked to his son and asked him if he knew anything going on because she was afraid he would drag him into something. And he said no. Brad asked him to use his PayPal account to intercept some money, but he doesn't have much to do with Brad because they all know how he is, says Rachel, which says a lot. I don't know why you would need to use someone else's PayPal account to intercept money unless your bank account was frozen or something or in the negative. But who knows with Brad? TM says he had some crazy story that she was harassing his son. She speaks of how she has had enough. She says this guy told me Summer was alive and in Indiana, that she was safe, that law enforcement had eyes all over her. These crazy stories that he's told. But if that were the truth, why would he have to put this billboard up, says Rachel. TM says, yes, that's my point. If Summer is alive and well in Indiana, why would you have to put up billboards, says TM. Rachel says, yeah, and he continues to weasel his way out, like with Cam and Allie. Why are you letting a con man con you? It's public record. Google him and his name will come up. Well, maybe Cam and Allie was giving him the benefit of the doubt in that he had changed for the better and was on the good side now, and that he was clean, and maybe he blamed his past on the drugs, maybe, but he really wasn't clean. So maybe Cam and Allie were conned by him, and that made them look bad, but it's not their fault that Brad's not a good person. TM asks, do you know what the theft was for, 60 to 80,000? Rachel says no, but I did run into his cousin the other day, and he said Brad went into someone's house and stole a ring worth thousands of dollars and tried to pawn it, and he went to jail, and his mom and dad bailed him out. Again, that's a huge problem in my opinion. That's enabling him. His parents should have left him in jail and let him figure it out for himself. Otherwise, it will be like it never even happened, and he will just keep doing it. Rachel says they bail him out of everything. They're pretty much broke because of him. You can drive past his house and see all the junked up cars in the yard. This is how he gets by. So he flips vehicles because I know a couple people that do that and they're good people. And one of them does it full time, like from Facebook Marketplace and stuff. And he makes pretty good money doing that. He's a good person, not on drugs, doesn't rip people off, nothing like that. Good family friend of ours. Not all people that flip junked up cars are junkies. That's all I'm saying. Rachel says, yes, he does have substance abuse issues, and that was one of the reasons for his divorce. That, and he couldn't keep a job. So the guy's on drugs and he can't keep a job. Surprise, surprise. Those two things usually go hand in hand. She says he was using Lortabs and benzos. My question is, was he using on a daily basis? Because usually people that abuse those types of drugs use them on a daily basis, like throughout the day, every day. And these types of drugs are very expensive. TM says she's just trying to understand what his malfunction is. Well, I would say that would definitely be part of it. Rachel says, who knows, the man doesn't have a conscience. And unfortunately, drugs will do that to people. And sometimes it's sad, but people don't come back from that. Not all people, but drugs really do ruin people. Not everybody that does drugs is ruined. Some come out stronger. I don't believe Brad is one of those, though. TM says he has to have a purpose for you. TM says he has brought so many people into this, it's not even funny. So many people have been scared, it's unbelievable. And I think many of these people are afraid to speak, says TM. So people were scared to spend and give any money towards Summer's billboard or for anything related to Summer for that matter because of Brad, and that's quite a shame. TM asks, what made you decide to come up here tonight? What have you been thinking watching this? Rachel says, it literally makes me sick to my stomach, and I can only imagine that it would, being that you see how much he has not changed for the better, but for the worse. Rachel says, I have a friend from Bulls Gap, and I'm not a news watcher. I work all the time. The news is depressing, she says. She says she has a friend that worked at a salon where Candace got her hair done before the Dr. Phil show. And she says she had sent her a message today that they had found out about Brad. She said, well, good. I don't understand how someone can just hand out so much money when they don't know. So something must have went on between Candace and Brad, or the friend. I'm not sure. She says she just watches his mannerisms and stuff in like in the cancer video, how he's like, you're not alone. And she says it's a red flag that he repeats himself repetitively, which I see what she is saying here. How can Brad have the nerve to go on and make a cancer video saying you're not alone to people who actually are surviving cancer, or even the ones that are here that are losing their battle and may be listening? And he has the nerve to say you're not alone when he doesn't even have cancer? That's messed up. That's shameless. She says it makes her sick to her stomach. She knows his son, she knows his family, just the disgrace he is to humanity at this point. How can you make money off the disappearance of a 5-year-old child and go to bed at night? My question is, how can you make money in that way in general, let alone in the case of Summer Wells, and be able to eat food and enjoy snacks and go on your day with your day and be able to talk to people socially and do anything because your guilt isn't eating you alive? How does he do that? Probably the drugs, honestly. And he does it, says Rachel. She says she's sure he got strung out on dope and lost his trucking job. She said the man can't keep a job. He literally goes from job to job. And that's another terrible side effect of drugs and being an active drug addiction. You will go from job to job most of the time because it's hard to go to work when you're sick and you can't always have your drugs because of money reasons or because there just isn't any available and you're too sick to work regularly. So you're going to lose your job. He went to Fort Payne, Alabama to work. He was taking loans from different loan places and sending it to his mom's address so his wife, Rachel, wouldn't see the bill. So he moved to Fort Payne, Alabama, where he was a car salesman, which he is great at because he is a good liar. Which, hey, I don't believe all car salesmen are liars. I'm sure it's just more of an acting skill than lying for most, a way of acting and convincing people, though some do straight con people, like Brad, because there are good people and bad people in every profession. Once in a while, you get one like Brad that makes them all look bad. He had the guys down there believing he was opening a car lot. He had these guys quitting their jobs to go work at a place that didn't even exist because he talked himself up. See, it's shit like that that I do not understand. For what? You had to have known the gig would be up very quickly. And what were you planning on doing? Just looking really freaking stupid and pissing these people off that you just screwed over? There was no plan for afterwards. Like, what was the point of all that? And how could it possibly have been worth it, whatever it was that he was really doing? You know? People are defending Chase in TM's chat, and Rachel says, are you kidding me? She was truly shocked. Rachel says, I have a friend that told me to get a hold of you. That's why I commented the first time. I'm not a big social media person at all, but how I even got on this live, I don't even know, she says. I was in AB's chat and got to TM, but she really wanted Brad called out, and she was taking her opportunity to speak out after 15 years of being away from him. So she must be sickened at how much he hasn't changed or succeeded, and she probably feels bad for him deep down inside. Maybe not. I shouldn't say that because, for all I know, the woman hates his guts. You know? Oh, I better mute.
And, it's really important that the public is alerted of these things when they happen. And, it's interesting, oddly enough, people knew that this was going on. They decided, instead of taking the information in, researching for themselves, trying to get to the bottom of it, they decided to attack those who were, talking about it, bringing it into the public eye so that others could protect themselves financially. And now all of a sudden, it's like none of that ever happened. And now people are starting to come to their senses.
So TM is all about like helping people protect themselves and not getting screwed over, which that's great. I'm very glad that she was all for calling Brad out and helping people protect themselves because there might have been a lot of more people that would have got screwed over by him because there was a lot of people trying to defend him that just didn't understand.
I find that to be extremely hilarious
Well,
because
I've
we
always
sat
said
here for weeks drilling it in and nobody wanted to listen. But now all of a sudden, does he have cancer? I can't speak on that. I don't know. I do know all he told me was that he had leukemia in his past and that he was in remission. Rachel, do you
yes,
know anything about that?
I do not. He has lied about having testicular
Uh,
cancer.
She doesn't know anything about it, and he's lied about having testicular cancer, so why wouldn't he lie about having leukemia too? That is just disgusting. Brad, what's wrong with you, man?
He has lied about his son having cancer. When I had a hysterectomy back when I was 31, he lied to the guys that he worked with and told them that I had cancer. Um, I got the prettiest 2 dozen
wow.
roses from Steve Grindstaff. That's where he worked.
So he literally lies on everybody in his life, like all of his family. He lies on them to try to use them up as much as he can to get what he can out of them. That's a vulture.
He worked. I wouldn't have known anything about it other than the fact that my neighbor came over to my house to check on me while I was off work and wanted to know how I was doing. And I said, "Well, I'm doing good. I'm recovering." And he said, "Well, how are your treatments going?" And I said, "I've never had. I'm not being treated for anything. I had a hysterectomy." And he's like, "Oh, well, he got his car serviced up there at Groundstaff, and that's when Brad worked there." And he said, "Well, he's told everybody that you had cancer."
God, like, how embarrassed were you over that, Brad? Was that like really embarrassing? Like, once, like, your wife had to have been embarrassed for you. I'm sure that was like incredibly embarrassing for her. But you put your wife in that position and you didn't think twice about it.
So, I mean, I've been a victim of it, and it's been like that as long as I've known the man.
It's been like that as long as I've known the man, she says. That's just sad. So that was from Web Doofs and Goofs Exposed. Um, the title is 423 Chase, Brad A. Wishon, ex-wife exposes him to Tiffany Marie, all public information, part 1. And it was posted December 15th, 2021. Right. You can talk to his ex-coworkers. I don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth, Rachel says. TM says this goes with the grift. All of a sudden, his cancer comes back literally weeks after he told TM he didn't have to go back for a really long time. TM says this is textbook scamming 101. Rachel says he is from Sulphur Springs. He isn't even close to Summer. How is he the closest one? How does he get involved? He's just trying to insert himself into this situation, so he is the topic of conversation because he feeds off that. TM says, does he need to be wanted or praised? Is he that way? Rachel says, yeah, I would think so. So she would probably know, because she was married to him. His parents know what he is. It's just not discussed in his family. They know he's a liar and a con. It's just like it's swept under the rug and there you go. So they're probably embarrassed of him and don't want to deal with it, so it's easier to just pay for the losses and mistakes and ignore it all, which actually just enables it all and makes it worse, in my opinion. I don't understand why people give him money, says Rachel. Well, that's easy. It's because he makes people believe he is a great person doing great things, then makes them feel bad for him and gets money. I see that much. I'm sure she does too. TM asks about an Anita. She asks, does Brad have a CDL? She says he used to. He used to drive for a company called Hunt's. She says he has probably driven for every place that will hire him. He's had so many jobs, he can't keep a job. Rachel really stresses how Brad can't keep a job. Oh, JB Hunt, says TM. Okay. That trucking company he allegedly worked for. She says they have been divorced since 2007. This was a long time ago that he was a trucker. She says he does have a CDL now unless he's lost it. I don't think she knows if he has a CDL. TM says she did report the Alive and Well in Indiana call into the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. Someone in TM's chat says he started a channel right before Summer went missing, but how was he introduced to the community? TM says, me, unfortunately. He made this video in the Meadows, and he was introduced into the community. Rachel thanks TM for having her and says maybe this way people will come forward with what they know about him, and maybe people will stop giving him money. TM says, unfortunately, this seems to be a trend for him, and he might be a little addicted to it. TM says the billboard thing is off the chain and is truly sickening, which, obviously. TM thanks Rachel for coming up. TM explains Rachel personally knows Brad and we should listen to her, which I agree. TM says it is what it is. This man collected funds for a billboard that was supposed to be up for 2 months, then relocated to a different area. The billboard was removed, then blamed on me, TM says. Rachel says you're just trying to find out the truth, which really she was. TM asks, has Brad ever worked in construction, drywalling, painting, electric? Rachel says no, but he may have since we split up, and he will probably do anything that will get him monetary gain. You can look this stuff up. It's public record, says Rachel. TM says this is about Summer. This billboard is supposed to be up still, which was a few months in at this point. Something is clearly wrong, says TM. TM says she was with Brad, so she probably knows him well. Rachel says, just keep on the search, and if anything, people should be angry with Chase or Brad or whatever he's calling himself. You know, if the billboard's not up and he's still receiving money for it, then he's hindering the search, so keep that in mind. He's talking out both sides of his mouth. TM says, well, now he has a woman taking in funds and having people call him out. TM says it seems like she came in to do some cleanup for him. She says she doesn't like some of the things that have happened. She says now we have a woman who is generously donating from the goodness of her heart to get the billboard out. Rachel says, but wouldn't you get in touch with the TBI or a credible business to get money to put up the billboards? TM says, well, allegedly he put in $4,000 and this lady Christy put in $4,000. TM says, from what I understand, she has disconnected herself from him, but I don't trust it. TM says, people thought we were all a bunch of stupid people. It's not good to run scams in a true crime community. People will catch you. Which, yeah, that's a great point, TM. It is pretty stupid to try and run a scam in a crime community. Like, hello. Rachel says, yeah, you should go do good and be good and try to be the best you can. Don't try to scam people. She says it will come back to you. It will. Rachel says Brad has stopped some progress that could have been made because that's the important thing, is finding the child, not making him money. He is getting the money from sympathy of people and it's wrong. TM says, I think the money has stopped. Rachel says he will move on to something else. Then they say goodbye, which I'm sure Brad did just move on to something else. I mean, what's stopping him now? Whatever stopped him before, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, he probably did just move on to something else, I'm sure. Again, that was from Web Doofs and Goofs Exposed. 423 Chase Brad A. Wishon, ex-wife's exposes him to Tiffany Marie. All public information, part 1. All right. One second. That's really all I wanted to go over, and I really wanted to thank you guys for the comments that you've left me, because you guys leave like a lot of really informative comments, and I appreciate that, because sometimes I just don't know, and that's why I want to go live and talk about it, because I don't know and I would like to know, and it sparks conversation that has to do with Summer's case, and it's always a good thing to keep that conversation going, even if it's about calling out some of the bad people that are involved in it. It's always good to keep a conversation that involves Summer going. So if that's what we have to do sometimes, that's what we have to do, and apparently that's what we're doing today. So all right. Up every day, wondering about the changes that you made. No, it can't be easy. You could just be. I want for you what a dove gets. I want the moon to spin on my shield. If only I could see past the rough into the diamond of your heart. Couldn't it be true that you could just be free? This is, excuse me, this is Haley Wells. She's still missing, and I just saw this update that was from 12 hours ago. It says, which looks like it was from more like 24 hours ago, but whatever. It says teen still missing as we hit day 10. Missing person report filed in Warren County, Tennessee. If you see this missing teen, call the Warren County Sheriff's Office at 931-259-7040. Warren County, Tennessee. Update. A missing teenager has yet to be located as day 10 hits. The Warren County Sheriff's Office received a report regarding a missing juvenile by the name of Haley Wells. The 16-year-old is a white female with hazel eyes and shoulder-length dark-colored hair with some areas dyed purple. The missing person report on Wells was filed by a family member. That family member told authorities that the teen was last seen at her home located on West Green Hill Road during the early morning hours of March 15, 2023. She previously sent a text message to a family member stating that she was having a difficult time dealing with the death of her father and was with a friend. Since that time, no further contact has been made with the family and her phone appears to be turned off. Haley Wells is 5'2" and approximately 100 pounds. The sheriff's office confirmed Wells does not have a vehicle. Again, she's been missing since March 15th, which equals 10 days at this point. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Haley, please call investigator Calvin Hammond at the Warren County Sheriff's Office at 931-259-7040 or the Warren County E911 non-emergency number at 931-668-7000. See the TBI missing person poster for Wells here, which is the same picture. It'll probably freeze if I try to go to it. So that's Haley Wells. If you see something, please say something. And I think people just want to know that she's safe. Really. People just probably want to know that you're safe, hun. That's all. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and get out of here then. I don't really have that much time today. I'm sorry. I've got a lot of stuff to do. I've got to get some work done. But I did want to come live and talk a little bit more about Chase and what his ex-wife said about him. And I thought maybe you guys would enjoy that conversation. Or not. Maybe it'll make you mad. I don't know. I hope not. I'm not here to make anyone mad. All right. So again, if you see Haley Wells, contact 931-259-7040. 931-259-7040. Share that picture out right there. Gotta share that out. Get her name out there, and hopefully she'll see it, and hopefully she's on social media and she'll realize that, she should probably get a hold of somebody because people are very worried about her. All right. Well, you guys, I appreciate you being here with me, and I'm going to go ahead and let you go. And again, pray for all the missing. Pray for Summer Wells. There'll be answers soon. There has to be, right? All right. We love you, Summer. All right.